Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Indie Credible Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Xander Scully, and joined with me, Jeffrey Wittenhagen. What's up, Jeff?
Oh, it's been a crazy wild time. I think we're recording a few days later just because you had Snowmageddon out in the area, right? You said the internet went down from the snow?
Well, not from the snow, but just from the ice. And honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if it was like a car wreck, to be honest. I mean, my city was on TMZ because a drunk driver hit a gas line and exploded an animal hospital. Thankfully, there were no animals. They had just built the building, but he hit a gas line and it was on TMZ, dude. So, I mean, people in my town drive kind of crazy, so that wouldn't surprise me at all, but yeah.
It's funny you're talking about all that, and it's like, yeah, we had more snow here than that. We did our normal thing. Colorado's just wild, and so even in the last week, so we ended up attending a toy convention out in Boulder, Colorado.
Oh, nice.
And I had a little sliver. My wife allowed me to have some books, so I brought Metroidvania and Super Nintendo books there, but also had high collectibles there. I brought some of, in the middle, Kyle's Trials, I had some Neo Geo games there, price and Ridley, with no intention to sell them. I just wanted, because people never see that shit.
Yeah.
So, didn't sell any, but they were there, and that was cool. I did find some cool shit. I got a Super Shredder that I posted a picture of on Facebook.
I saw that. That's one of those Nika figures. Those things are
and it's like an ultimate one. And the dudes are like, yeah, $30 or whatever. I'm like, done. And then I got a badass or on the display, a Slash, which is one of my favorites, the evil turtle. So it's like a giant one. It's fucking cool. So sold some stuff and then bought some stuff, which is wild. But yeah, and so that's been part of it. And then, of course, I'm dual-hatted running as a command sergeant major right now. So that's been wild. I've been doing some late nights. Literally, we're recording in the evening, and I just got home from work a little bit ago and scarfed some food real fast.
Usually the shoe's on the other foot. Usually I just got back from work and we do an episode, so it's gonna
happen though. And I mean, the thing is that we've both been excited about this episode because we're doing things a little differently. We're doing a best of NESmaker, which is cool.
Is crazy.
Instead of doing a traditional Kyle's Trials, I figured I would show off a couple NESmaker games, including one that's something that's a first off release ever. But first one I got in, which was from Orebody, which John Vanderhoff, which had an award, and I think we played it on this episode. This one, though, is Mega Kaiju Boom Ball.
Oh, you know what? I think we have talked about this game.
It's we've talked about it.
Yeah, because it's like Rampage meets Pinball, obviously.
It's or Arkanoid style. And yeah, it's super cool. There's and John Vanderhoff, who makes these games, he makes some weird, crazy games because he did Orebody Binder's Tale. He's done other badass games on there, and some of them I've published. So when I was working with Premium, but yeah, it's super cool to see. Had a cool ass Cthulhu card with it and a bunch of merch. So that's the first one. The second one though is by a guy named Gil, and it wasn't a Byte-Off. I don't know if we played it based on the awards, but it's Hazard. Let Us Out. Now here's the thing. This is not an NES game.
Oh, it's not?
This is a Commander X16 game. Have you heard of the Commander X16?
No, enlighten me.
So this is the first ever physical release for the Commander X16. Commander X16 is something that a programmer created. This is the cartridge. It looks like a Famicom game.
Oh, it does.
And essentially does NES-style graphics on its own proprietary brand new board. And
wow.
The only way to build a Commander X16 is to kit it all together and build it yourself right now. There is no consoles. But Gil created a port of his game Hazard that he built in NESmaker for the Commander X. And I'm like, as soon as he said he's selling one, I'm like, number one, I like Gil. I want to support his stuff. Just like you like the whole community. You get to meet him at Millis Gaming Classic. They're all amazing. They're freaking talented people, and they're all as hell. Like, and so it's fun. But then also, this is the first physical release for it, and I don't keep stuff sealed, so open it up. Look at it. It can't be played in a Famicom, so like it's pretty cool. And whenever the Commander X16, the developer of the console showed it off at Portland this year, and I saw some videos on it. So that's how I knew about it. I just didn't know anybody was doing games for it, and it's super
wild. That's wild.
Legendary shit. So that's like the coolest Kyle's Trial style, where it's just like stuff we're showing off.
So it's kind of like so this console is kind of like its own 8-bit console, pretty much. Wow.
Yeah, it's
insane.
New thing. So you think about, you got the NES, the Master System, and you would have this, just like you had Super Nintendo, Genesis, and Turbo Graphics 16. This would be the third 8-bit console system out of that generation. It's just released in the aftermarket Twilight now. Wait, what's the appetite for that? And like to get in stores? No, but for the collector community, for us, it's really dope.
It's for what this episode's going to be, and that's kind of like just diving into this like aftermarket homebrew, because we talked about it in the last episode. We were like, this is going to be a different kind of episode. We took like the games from the last couple of awards from the Byte-Off, and we played them. And
it's the history
of
Byte-Off. So what we did was we took every single game from the Byte-Off. There was no list of this, so I compiled it all because I'm an insane version. And basically we decided that we will go from Byte-Off 1 all the way to last year's 5. And then Byte-Off 1 started in 2019. There were a couple years that were skipped. And we're going to play the Wombat, which is the weird one, the audience choice, and then the best game. Those would be the 3 that we play, or in some cases 4. As the years go on, there was also the Emissary, which Dale Coop, who was the first new 8-bit hero, he won that award the first year. He started to get to pick his favorites that he felt encapsulated what would be the best game. And so those are unique ones too. So we added that in like Byte-Off 4 and 5. And then there's a section where we can talk about anything unique from the entire 60, 70 game catalog every year that might have popped out. So if that's something like I was involved in, or we played and thought looked freaking cool and surprised us as we went through the lists and played them. But first off, Xander, how did you play the NES Byte-Off games? Like what system, console / emulation, or how did you play it?
I played it on a mini PC, and it's funny you asked that because I was playing it with this controller right here. Oh yeah,
the Nintendo Switch.
Yes, because you can hook these, and it's super easy to pair to a PC. And I was like, if I'm gonna play some Nintendo, I want to play it with the controller since I have one. I was going to play them on the CRT, but considering that a lot of this footage that we're going to see in this episode, I had to play and capture. I was like, I just did Bottasera. I just did that with my mini.
Was it like halfway through the week? I'm like, are we going to be able to, because you had to like capture all, are we actually going to get through it? Are we going to make this like a 2-parter? And you're like, no, man, I got it. I have went down the rabbit hole on a few of these. I'm like, oh, perfect. You're talking Byte-Off 5. We're good. Like insane. So how I played it though, I did play it on FPGA on the Mr. Multi-System 2. Being the lazy ass that I am, I actually didn't switch back to the NES controller. So I used the 8BitTo SN30 Pro. So it was like a Super Nintendo style controller. The reason being is because with the NES controller, it doesn't have a menu button like the 8BitTo does. So I had to like go to the console to go to the menu to switch out ROMs, whereas I can just press the button on the Super Nintendo controller to go to the menu. So it was really a convenience thing, aka being a lazy ass. That's okay. But the idea behind this, why we want to do the best of the Byte-Off 2, is that we are both going to be going to Midwest Gaming Classic, and we're going to be covering the red carpet for the Byte-Off 6. Maybe Granado won't even call it Byte-Off 6 because they haven't really announced themes yet for the Byte-Off. But essentially, we're going to be talking to all the developers, all the things. So now we're going to have a little bit of context to who did what with their games, which is the utmost respect for what they guys do.
And that's definitely what I wanted to do. So I'm glad we did this because I mean, like, there's a lot of all these dudes within the community because you've been around it for so long. But I'm kind of like a new fish in the water. So I definitely am glad that I got to play some of these games and kind of like see their creativity. Before I meet them.
I mean, I'm like too ingrained in the community to the point where I couldn't be a judge or any of the things. Because, like, number one, I had a game in Byte-Off 1, so there's a spoiler for y'all. But also, like, I was like backer number 1 on the NESmaker, like crazy shit. And like, so I have one of the programmers and all the things, like, because you could get a physical programmer for the NESmaker, but I don't have any cartridges. I've never done a release for NESmaker. I've never even, outside of the first Byte-Off, which I worked with members of the community. So I had a guy working with the programming side and working with the music side. I really never dug in. I did all the design work and the art and some of the art because one of the guys worked on the art with me. But I kind of hadn't worked on anything since me and Backer 1. So maybe in 2016 we'll change that, Xander. But right now, I want to highlight all these awesome people. And some of these I played back in the day as I have a lot of the physical releases. So because some of these from especially Byte-Off 1 and 2 have had physical releases.
Yeah. And what's been so exciting about playing these games is like, because, like I said, I'm new to it and I've known about NESmaker. I knew a lot about that from John, the Retro Bro, when he was, developing some of his games, which his new game, Ethos, is going to be on Kickstarter, around this week. This episode's out, so you guys can check out his Kickstarter.
Absolutely, and we covered it last episode in depth. It is an excellent Metroidvania, and we will talk about it in this episode because it was part of one of the Byte-Offs.
Yeah, so I mean, it was kind
of a different name.
Yeah, it was a different name. And it was nice, getting home from work. I thought I like borrowed a handful of like games from a friend, and was like playing the NES games because these games, have that charm, but they're brand new games and some of them are very intricate and very like in depth. So yeah, it's gonna be fun to talk about them.
And it really reminds me of like when they do all of these competitions they've been doing for years and years and years online for indie games. And so you get these games that are, some of them are like short because they're demos because you have a finite time to program. It's all these game jams that you see on the indie side. The NESmaker is very reminiscent of like how the indie community does the game jam. But it's like, so what Joe does is he announces the theme and you're supposed to like program a new game during the time frame of the Byte-Off.
Wow.
I feel like some people were probably working on the game for like a year, knowing there's a Byte-Off coming up, and then create these crazy masterpieces. Because if they are truly doing this within a month, 2-month period, it's impressive.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I will say like the NESmaker has like a really, really big community, especially on Facebook. Like they're like people are constantly, posting, either what new games they're working on or if they're having trouble. That's one of the things I will say I like about the community from the get-go is how inviting and how like inclusive it is.
Yeah, that was the one weird, surprising thing because got to know Joe Granato based off of the new 8-Bit Heroes documentary he did, which was basically him finding his old like book on how he wanted to make an NES game, and then the journey and talking to the NES Homebrew developers that were currently in the scene. And then later he was like developing Mystic Search as his game, and he had this like level builder for it. And I saw it too, and I'm like, dude, can you make anything with this? And it was like, yeah, you can make anything with this. So I could like make my own game in this. And then the light bulb went off in his head, and him being the mastermind that he is, like NESmaker came out of that because Joe, the mad scientist, Like, if I had anything to do with that, number one, I'm sorry, Joe, for your time, but it has been amazing. But what we never anticipated was the community side, because like those same people he interviewed for the NES Homebrew guys, like were like threatened by the community that popped up because they were worried there'd be too many NES games. But in reality, it's like, number one, NESmaker is a graphical overlay tool, but if you want to do stuff that's truly unique, you still got to dig into the code.
Right.
And that's where the community jumps in and they all help each other out. You got people that are helping each other out with music and graphics and
Yeah.
I got this problem. Like it's ridiculous. So I feel very confident that if I dig into my own game, that there'll be plenty of people that will like help me out if I really run into a wall. It's awesome. Love it.
Yeah. It's great. It's great. And I mean, like one of the things that I want to dive into this year is using like Family Tracker and trying to like program my own video game music.
Yeah.
There's Family Tracker and there's also I believe it's called Family Station, and it's more like FL
Family Tracker.
Yeah, and it's more the Family Station is more like FL Studios, like Free Loops. So I'm kind of more familiar with that, but it's almost like learning a brand new instrument, because there's so much you have to, I mean, even if you have the ideas, you have the limitations of the NES hardware. And I think that's something that's really, interesting to talk about with the NESmaker and some of these folks with their homebrews is that they're creating these games using the NES limitation. They're not just like inspired 8-bit games. These are legit 8-bit games,
Yeah. And don't worry, with all the time that we don't have, we'll figure this out. So let us know in the comments, what do you want the Indie Credible game to look like on NESmaker?
Oh yeah.
Well,
it should have a Xander demo. I think it's only fair.
if it does have a demo, Xander's going to come play it. That might be the game. That might be the whole game as Xander demo. Like we're gonna do Indie Credible where we play a bunch of weird indie games and talk about them in the game. Like freaking crazy. Well, let's start off with Byte-Off number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, Byte-Off number 1 was from 2019. That one started off online only. And it was an idea to get the community together to make new games. That was really it. There was no like theme to it from what I can remember. It was more like to see what people could create.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically the first game that we're going to talk about, it was on the audience choice and it was called Project Kunoichi. And Project Kunoichi was an interesting one. I just wrote in my comments, it's a Mega Man Zero style action platformer.
Yeah, and what a game to start this whole thing off with, because like I was saying, this isn't just like an 8-bit inspired, game. This is an actual 8-bit game, and the shading and the pixel art, I was like, wow. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it's like the one thing I liked about it, and this is where it shows how early NESmaker shined, is that you had some people that came in with like some graphical backgrounds that now have their foot in the door for the NES because they don't have to learn all the programming aspects of NES Homebrew. They can jump right in and then use what the NESmaker already has, tweak it a little, and create a full-fledged action game. And it's solid. It's got all the different bells and whistles you want from an excellent platform, right? It's like a fun demo.
It's super, super solid. The controls are very solid. I was playing it, and the character has that kind of Mega Man X kind of look to it. So I mean, it's cool to see that sort of animation on the NES.
When it was like I said, like Mega Man Zero, because you can also slash and stuff too, so you can get in close and slash the shit out of the enemies, which is a really cool aspect. Now, there's not a whole lot of breadth and depth, but again, a lot of things from the Byte-Off is demos, so there's not going to be any type of like negative connotations about any game for length, because like it's inherently supposed to be a Xander demo. It's supposed to be short.
Yeah, and also keep in mind, like any games that we talk about, be sure to check them out on itch.io, because a lot of them have pages and like some of these games, like was released in 2019, they're probably maybe already done by now, or they have some sort of update.
Well,
so,
and I'll talk about if I know that there's a physical on some of these. And then the other piece is some of these older ones may not be there, but then Joe Granato did create the Retroverse up on the new 8bitheroes.com, which is like the official NESmaker website, and you can play them in a browser too.
Oh, nice.
So you can like use your controller with Bluetooth and play it in a browser, play the NESmaker game. So that's where a lot of the future Byte-Offs were hosted. But the initial ones was before this. And then there's like NESmakers.com, which is the unofficial forum for NESmaker as well, where you can go on. And so a lot of the games are shared there back in the day. So it's kind of went back and forth because Joe Granado just wants to keep it simple and in one space. Having it in multiple spots makes it confusing. So he tries to keep it all in one spot so nobody gets lost, basically.
Yeah, speaking of lost, going into the Wombat of 2019.
The first Wombat.
Yes.
Holy cow.
This was, the weird game, and it was definitely weird. It's called
weird as shit.
Momoc? Is that how you would?
They called it Momoc.
Momoc.
And that was the funny thing. So to do the research for this episode, I had to listen to all of the Byte-Offs, watch them all, and then document all of the games that won. And for some reason, I wasn't listening through my speaker, my TV, but it was coming through here. And I'm like, I can't hear what the hell he's saying because my headphones were off. And I'm like, what's he saying? And I was like, rewind, Momoc. And I was like, trying to find it. And as soon as I put it through there, I could obviously hear perfectly. But yeah, so Momoc is it's like a puzzle resource management building game.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's like the character you play as is like from feudal Japan, and it was like when I first played it, I didn't like it. I was like, I don't like this, and I was just kind of but the more I like sat down and kind of started thinking and go, like you said, going through the different resources, because there's like different things you hit with your pickaxe that you can like make ladders and platforms, and then it gets to the point.
It's a puzzle platformer.
Yeah. And this is like, oh, okay, cool.
Now I get it.
And it was
like, a light bulb goes off. Since I didn't turn this light off, the light bulb.
Yeah, it was by that point it went from like a game that I was like, oh, this is okay, to like I was playing a lot of it, especially when it gets to the point where you start having like the soldiers shooting at you. Oh my gosh, because you don't have any weapons. It's all about your resources. I mean, you can build things that kind of stop the bullets, which I thought was this.
Or like stop the enemy so that way you can then make platforms to go over.
Yeah.
But then while some are shooting at you. And
it was
the fact that they created this in like the first Byte-Off, to me too, is like, this is so unconventional.
Yeah.
And, it's still NES graphics and it's on an NES, but it's such a cool one.
Yeah. And then we had, the best game.
The best game was, and usually Joe Granado gets like some people in the community or something to do the judging of the games. Well, the best game for the first Byte-Off was Howard Phillips from Nintendo. Like, literally did the judging. And just in classic Game Master Howard fashion, he chose a tie and chose 2 games for the first Byte-Off for the best game. So we had to cover 2 different games, which is wild. The irony is, out of all these games, the first one that won best game was the only one that I had some experience with, and it has a physical. And there's a Jeffrey Wittenhagen physical.
Oh, okay.
It's Turtle Rescue. And Turtle Rescue is such a good game. It is a Zelda-style puzzle-based game where you're walking as a turtle, interacting, talking with all the other turtles, and you got to collect eggs that turn into the little turtles. You got to get all of the eggs. Once you get all the eggs, you end the demo. So there's like a yo-yo you can get that you can literally attack, which is required to beat. There's like a raccoon.
Yeah.
Required to beat the raccoon is the actual yo-yo. And then after you beat it, it's like, did you find the secret area, the beta area, all the things? Well, what the developer did was he ended up doing something really, really cool with it. And he identified a few people that he was inspired by or influenced by when he started programming for the NES. So he made me a special copy because I released the NES Homebrew book back in the day.
Mm.
So like, he brought it to me. I mean, it was a gaming classic, and so there's a Jeffrey Whitnegger version, but it's like in my version it's based off one of the turtles in the game, and it's like sand colored cartridge and everything. And it's a one of a kind. It's so cool, and I still have it to this day. It's in my storage with Georgia. That'll be something I treasure because it's just such a cool, it's like super humble to be recognized like that.
Yeah, it was a fun game.
So cool.
I had a lot of fun playing that one. I love all the banter. Like you said, you talked to all the different sea turtles and stuff like that. And, and it was cool because, when the first weapon you get are the seashells, and the seashells are like actual ammo. And I found myself grinding, like collecting the seashells, like going back and forth. And I'm like, man, I haven't done this like since the original Metroid. Like that was a lot of fun. I like that.
Exactly. And it's really cool because you can like take your time and go through. And I just like the way that it unfolds and that there's a lot of personality, and like there's like you'll find a dude in a house or like a turtle. Like it's ridiculous. The developer is Joe Sherman, by the way, Joe. And I've seen him a bunch of times. As we go through all these things, I'm gonna jumble names and stuff just because there's so many games.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah, Joe Sherman's a really cool dude. And if you look it up like online, you'll see some forum posts, and I think they're talking about there's like subtle differences, I think, in the variants as well. So there might be something different in the game for my version as there is for a different version that he made for somebody else. Like people were talking about it. It was like a bit.
It's really cool.
The irony is that because I knew all about Turtle Rescue, I didn't actually know back in the day that there was a tie for Byte-Off 1. I didn't remember that. And the other game I never played, which is crazy. So the second game is called Time Survivor. And this one's also like a Metroidvania, right, Xander? But it's different. It's like chaos almost. Like you're like in an area, then you go through a portal, and now you're in like a different time. And then I found a sword randomly, but it didn't lead me there. I felt like I randomly found the damn sword.
I love the graphic style too. Can I think of Earthbound?
Yeah.
Like even the character kind of has like that Mr. Saturn kind of look to him, and I was like, okay, it was very trippy. That was one of the games I didn't get too far in because it was a little out there for me. I was like, I needed to sit down and kind of research it a little bit more because I
kind of felt like I was wandering.
Yeah, that's a good way.
Didn't know where to, and yeah. You say it's Mr. Saturn, which actually is better than my thought. I thought it was like Ziggy from back in the day. Oh, Ziggy, ping me, Ziggy. But yeah, no, Mr. Saturn makes way more sense than what I was thinking. But yeah, like I did find a sword, but I never found anything to like kill with the sword or attack. Like I just found more NPCs to talk to, and they're like, yeah, they say random shit too. Like it's funny, and it's almost like we need a manual or a guide or something.
Yeah,
which is still super engaging and fun.
Which is super old school too. Like there was a lot of times you'd get those games that you had no idea what you were doing, and then once the gears start going and you start cooking with gas, you're like, okay, cool, okay, I get this game. So I mean, it is a game that I definitely want to go back to, and I want to like see what else is out there for Time Survivor because it was very unique. I thought it was very unique.
So that was the best games of Byte-Off 1. Now we got the section where we can talk about anything that stuck out at us. I mean, of course, I alluded to it. Like, I had a game that I submitted to the Byte-Off and actually got highlighted on the award show. So we went to a section where our games were inspired by our kids. So my game was Happy Scrappy and the Haunted Mansion. I had a Chihuahua since passed away from old age, but his name was Scrappy, and he's a little Chihuahua with a crooked ear. And so my daughter drew a bunch of stuff about Happy Scrappy and with Superman cape, and we had Cutie Chloe, which was our other dog, who was like captured by the cross-eyed kitty, and she had this whole story. And so I had all the pictures. We took the pictures. I made some art. Another guy that I was working with made some art. And we had a couple other guys make some music because, like, my daughter sang like Happy Scrappy Hero Puff, and so it's like in the thing, like we had her singing it, and then we put it in Family Tracker and made the music based off my daughter's voice.
That's so cool,
so cool. And so like that game was was absolutely highlighted, but so was like Doodle World, which is a pixel platformer. Later, Limited Run released that physically with Doodle World, like I think it was like DX or Redrawn, I think he called it. Now he's working on Doodle World 2. But he also worked that with his kid. And then you had Dale Coop, who worked on a bunch of games like Kubo 3 and Skate Cat later with, I think Kubo 2 was part of a Byte-Off. But he worked on those with his kid. So we got highlighted in that spot because we all had like similar experiences of like programming NESmaker stuff with our kids, which I thought was dope. So playing Happy Scrappy, I thought it was like a glitchy mess type of thing. That's what I remember. I played it, was like, it's long as shit. I couldn't even remember how to get to the end.
It's so open. I think I fell down like a pitfall. I fell down a pitfall, and it was like I was in this underground world, and I'm like, oh my god, what am I doing here? And
Metroidvania paid to be before they now have a Metrovania module. They didn't back in the day. I literally created that shit out of my head.
But it was a lot of fun. I loved the sprite art. And I remember you mentioning that about the sprite art. So I was looking at it like, and I like the sound it makes when Scrappy jumps. It's like, woo!
Beep, beep, beep. And it's this little yip that he used to do when he went and drove by it. But that was the funny thing. And initially he didn't have an attack or anything, just jump on stuff. So you could jump on things. But the programmers added a fireball, which I thought was hilarious. It actually made it so you can play through it because otherwise it was hard. But like you start and then the mansion's in the background.
Yeah.
And did you get to the mansion? I couldn't find the damn.
I couldn't get to it.
Because you have to, like, from what I'm tracking, you have to, like, get through a whole maze in the caves, and eventually there's a couple ways to get into the mansion. One's, like, going through, like, the clouds, because you come all the way up and around and through the clouds. I had hundreds of screens in this demo. It is insane. I don't know, like, how my brain was working on that. I definitely didn't write it all down on paper. I had it on paper. I don't know where that went. I've moved like several times since then. So it'll be interesting if anybody knows how the hell to get through my game anymore. But it was fun as shit. I enjoyed playing it. And there's some glitchy spots to it, but that was part of figuring out the original versions of NESmaker was you had to get through those glitches. And
yeah,
like, it was really bad while we were programming, and it's pretty damn stable for what we had, but there's still some crazy shit. Like, did you get to any of the rabbits with the machine guns?
Yes. Yes.
Like, Jesus. That was like, there was tons of bullets coming. I'm like, I don't know.
There was some room that I went into that had a bunch of them, and they were like all trying to kill me. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Trap room, baby. Trap room. You went the wrong way.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was some crazy shit in there. And then the end, there is a boss fight at the end, too, where you fight the cross-eyed kitty and save Cutie Chloe to beat the game. It does exist. I definitely used to be able to beat it back in the day. But now, years removed, because that was like 7 years ago, Xander, like 7 years removed. I don't even remember how to play my own game, which I think is really funny.
That is funny. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, there's songs that I've written that I forgot how to play after a while.
I've recorded days of music. So they're up at half of the shit. It's been fun remastering stuff now. It's been fun.
Now going into 2020, because I didn't play anything else from 2019. I was like,
so no extra notes,
no extra for me,
and that's just how it is though too. Because again, we're playing a lot of games.
Yeah. And I was capturing all the footage for him, too. So I was like, I mean, it was a lot of games. Because then we go into 2020. This is Byte-Off 2. And they had the audience choice of Rescue Time.
Yeah.
This was this game, I had so much fun playing it. And there were times that it pissed me off, made me so mad.
and like the thing is that it's not really easily seeable. And I don't even think on the award show they talk about it, but the theme feels like from all these games we play, it's like time travel basically.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the theme was to like save Joe Granato in it or whatever, but that seemed to be what a lot of people did in Byte-Off 2. So this is made by the same guy that did Skate Cat that I alluded to. SJ Games is what's called as Dale Coop. And essentially SJ is his son. And so, like, he would, like, do all the art, like, drawings and stuff in the games. This was a super simple platform. I'm pretty sure you're playing as his son, like a little kid. You're collecting NES cartridges. You get enough NES cartridges, I think you can, like, go to Austin, who's one of the, he's actually, like, the artist that works for Juggernaut to work on Mr. Searches, but also, like, I don't know, hetero life mates, you know, like Jay and Silent Bob, Austin and Joe. But essentially, you go to him, and it lets you to travel. And then you get through the simple part of the platform and find Joe and save him. That's basically the game. It was very short. It was really cute and fun.
It was a lot of fun. And the parts that I was saying that was making me mad is because, you know, when you collect enough cartridges, you hit select and makes you go back into that other dimension. And there were times that I would like transfer to that other dimension right into a pitfall, like right into spikes.
Oh, I didn't have that happen.
Oh man, I was so mad. But yeah, like I liked it because you know what it made me think of? It kind of made me think of this is way left field, like how Sonic CD is. You know, like the past and future. It's kind of like that because you collect enough cartridges and then like you press select, it's like vroom, everything changes, the enemies change. And it's like at that point you have your time by those cartridges. So you got to try to get as far as you can before you're transferred back to.
And you could really see where, like, they would, if they did a full version of the game, which they may have, I don't know. You could see where, like, they could get real complex with some of these levels.
Yeah.
Further ones, because this is like their demo, basically, of the concept.
Yeah, it's a simplistic game that has a lot of depth in the gameplay. You know, like it was a lot of fun. Now the Wombat.
Wombat, holy shit, the weird one of this.
Yeah. This one was Rick Starfield, and you know I actually did beat the demo. Yeah.
So this is the interesting thing. So the first time I played it, I got through like the platformer section, which you have to do like a mini boss fight, right? You have to, like he's attacking, you know, like punch him in the eye, and then you finally get your gun, and you can shoot him, and he gets smaller. It's really cool. And then you like get to the ship part. Well, I couldn't get like I felt like I needed the rings to register, so I just kept on messing around. I'd miss them and hit them, and it never happened. So I turned it off, went to the next game. Going back to it though, I'm like, I gotta see if I can get the damn rings to register. So you just gotta stay on it for like 4 times, and it goes to the next area.
I did the same exact thing.
I'm dumb. I just like I figured it out though. It wasn't super hard. It was just that I missed the idea.
I did the same thing when I first played it. I thought I thought it was stuck on a loop or something. I'm like, what's going on? So I turned it off, played some other games, came back to it. The only thing that sucks is like that's it. Like once you're done with that, that's like, all right, that was the demo. But I wanted to play so much more because that mini boss fight that in the beginning of the game is like
had promise.
It had so much promise to it because it had a mixture of not just your running gun, but also the melee. Kind of made me think of like, you know, the 8-bit fighters. You know, and I was like, oh, dude, this is pretty cool.
Because, like, so once you make it through the rings, you, like, go to a planet, you talk to more people, and I think you do another Starship thing where you, like, shoot enemies or something a little bit and continue to do that, and then that's, like, it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think I did end up beating the demo as well, and, yeah, we want more of this game. I didn't write down all the developers, otherwise we would say, hey, name, because Joe Sherman, I know, like Dale Coop or some of the guys that I see, like Jordan, I know him, Jordan Davis, who did, you know, it's Space Raft, which was not a NESmaker, but it is a game he programmed and published and has an arcade that he brought to Midwest one year. But I know those dudes, but like this guy, like, I don't know if he's not come, or maybe he hasn't, I just haven't met him, or maybe I didn't recognize it, so... Any of the developers here, if we're talking about your game and we haven't chatted, like you're going to be at Midwest, let's chat. Because I'd love to pick your brain on all this, because these are all fun.
Yeah, because I will say this, out of all the Byte-Offs, like there was no single game I played that I didn't like. You know, there was like no game, like, so keep that in mind while we're talking about all these games. Like none of them I was like, I was like, oh man, this game kind of sucks. Like all of them were good.
I got stuck in a few.
Yeah,
that's just
like
the next game.
And I did too. This was Chaos Between Realms, which graphically has a lot of promise. Has great music. Like, this game is
They had
freaking-
like cutscenes at the beginning, like talking about the time travel thing, and then it gets into like the Zelda, like you're like in a room and Austin and Joe Granado are in there for sure. It's definitely them. And then you like, they tell you, hey, go on and move. So you go down, and I think SJ's there from Coop's getting talking about a dog, and then you go down, and then like, but if I hit A and hold it, he starts sprinting. And then it does a thing with now you can shoot yourself, and you just go through. But then like I couldn't get anything to register in the overworld to do anything. So it was kind of like when we were going through and playing Time Survivor. Like I was kind of a little lost.
Yeah. I was the same. I was the same way. I couldn't lead the woods. I was trying to lead the woods and I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, like I went up, down, left, right, all the things. Like it's probably a puzzle that both you and I were not smart enough to figure out.
Yeah. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, but we tried, but the game itself looked amazing, promising.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see like if there's more to it where it opens up. Like if you're just figure out the one thing that we couldn't figure out.
Yeah, because the character you play as, he looks like a freaking Sentai. Like he looks like a Power Ranger, dude. And I was like, man, this is so cool. So cool.
Super cool. So I had a couple notes for this episode, or for this episode, this Byte-Off. First of all, the new 8-Bit Hero Award this year was to Cutter Cross. So Cutter Cross helped a lot of people out with graphics and things. But I worked with Cutter Cross during the first year of the NESmaker, way before 2019, and I helped him publish one of his first demos to show. It was like Ninja Gaiden. It's called Tower of Turmoil. I think it was like 2017, 2018. Yeah. That I did a summer sale. I did a physical release with it, the full manual, everything that I created the manual for him. I had him do quotes in it. It was cool as shit. It's like a predecessor to what I would do later with premium edition games. And it was super freaking cool. It was like again, like a Byte-Off sized game, but then there was like, you could go through it again with a different aspect. Like it was a secret way to go through it. And it was such a cool little mini release that we did. And we just did it just to build basically like to make sure people know about NESmaker. Like we were just like saying, hey, there's new NES games out there, and this one is excellent. It's showing off demos, and people were excited as hell, sold out of the game. It was really, really freaking cool. And, supporting him just to make sure you can get a game out there physically, because this was before like anybody was publishing NESmaker games.
Yeah, and I went down the rabbit hole of Cutter Cross. And oh my gosh, man, he has some sort of like I was watching a video where he made some sort of like NES like Mario Paint sort of thing, and you can actually
use paint or something.
Yeah, and you can actually use an SNES mouse on it
on Nintendo.
Yeah, I was like, dude, this is whole next level stuff,
And I remember he was in college when we did the first one. So he's like, yeah, I just want to get my game out there. So I helped him out. And I haven't chatted with him for like, it's been years. So I'd be interested to see where Cutter Cross is now.
Super talented guy.
I wonder what he's doing now. He's probably doing something. He's probably doing some engineering genius thing now. Who knows? Like, it'd be cool to catch up with him. I have an email from somewhere. I'll have to reach out. See how he's doing. I had mentioned that Chrono Knight in my notes is excellent. Now I've completely forgotten Chrono Knight.
I played. I did play it.
We played so many games.
I did play it.
I need better notes.
Well, like it's a shooter, but it's like medieval. So like instead of a ship, you're playing as like a knight guy. And you have like you have the enemies coming down, you're swiping. And
that was cool as shit. Yeah.
So cool. Simple, just black background, but like the sprites are like really detailed. And they're like, I got that one tone to them. I love that.
And the screen was scrolling, which is why I wanted to add it, and I wrote terrible notes. It's because like NESmaker wasn't meant to do that initially. And so, like, there was there were later, like, tutorials on how to do scrolling and stuff, but, like, they figured this stuff out back in the day in, like, 2020. Yeah, this was the COVID version too.
Oh yeah,
when they did this, so like people were figuring out the nuances of NESmaker at this point. But yeah, Chrono Knight was cool as shit.
that was a lot of fun. Now going into 2022, this is Byte-Off I, and the Audience Choice Award was Les Meneurs des Zombies.
Les Meneurs Zombies. I don't know, is French. But again, SJ Games, because that's the thing with Dale Coop about SJ Games is they're out of France. So that's the other piece, is they're not from America. Yeah, I thought that this game was very interesting because it's not an action platformer in a traditional sense. It's like you're doing like mischief as the character, and a zombie's walking and you hit a thing and a bucket falls on his head and kills him.
It was like Home Alone. That's what made me think of.
Yeah,
you know, and I was like, man, this is what the Home Alone game should have been. Like, it was a lot of fun.
You're like setting up traps for enemies. It is so freaking cool, and it's very interesting because like it just shows like I only knew about SJ Games from like Kubo 3 and Skate Cat, and now I'm like, now we've played 2, and we had other games that didn't quite get awards or things, but this is the second game in a row, 2 Byte-Offs where he won the audience choice, and I think that's why it turned into an emissary award, because everybody started loving the things that they were doing. So Dale Coop became the emissary.
That was so cool.
Yeah, I know this year the new 8-bit hero was Jordan Davis, helping everyone with music and stuff. So for sure, because I don't think I noted that anywhere. But yeah, but yeah, like this game was cool. It was neat. I only got a few screens in. I'm not sure how long this demo was.
Yeah. I beat like the first 3 stages, but then it was getting kind of crazy, and I was like,
I got further than that.
I was like, I gotta play another game.
Yeah. The next game on here though is interesting because it is by Orebody Incorporated, John Vanderhoff, and this is Oratorio, and this one, man, I published this with Premium Edition Games when I was running the company. This is Rez, like the Dreamcast game Rez or the PS4, but on the NES.
Yeah. It was funny because I was like playing it, and I was like, at first I was playing it like almost like Tempest. You know, I was playing it like that. I was just shooting things, and then it started triggering. I'm like, oh man, okay, whoa, okay, this is a beat now. And I was like,
music.
I was like, okay, so yeah, to play a game like that on the NES, like I haven't played a rhythm game that fun probably since like it's like some Guitar Hero game that was on the NES that you could play. It was like DDR.
Frets of Fire.
Yeah,
and
that was a good one.
So the history of this though is that at the Midwest Gaming Classic after this Byte-Off, I was going around and NESmaker started to have a presence there, and Juggernaut had like a setup for all the developers. And I saw John there demoing Oratorio, and I'm like, dude, this is like next level, because I hadn't played it at that point. I'm like, well, let's talk. Because by 2022, I was publishing games, and I was like, for Switch, I'm like, let's talk. We need to work something out with an NES game. And we like published it, sold tons and tons of copies of it, and worked with them with some other games too, like, you know, like I mentioned, Orebody Binder's Quest and stuff like that. But like, I had not played Oratorio at that point, and it was so good.
Yeah, I that was definitely like I said earlier, there was no games that I played that I didn't like. I liked all the games, but there were some games that definitely like had that spark. And this was one of them. One of them, definitely.
Yeah. And so the final game of Byte-Off I, this is the game that I feel like there's no way in hell they programmed this in a month.
Yeah.
Like the game's called Triptych. And essentially, it's like 3 games, at least 3. There might be more if I didn't find them. But like, you start off and it's like, oh, we're navigating with arrows, like on an overworld, like it's Goonies 2. Like,
yeah,
like moving around and going through, and there's like voice talking to you, and it's like, I can't see or whatever. Like, I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah,
like and then you realize that this whole overworld that you're playing is just the menu.
Yeah, because I thought it was going to be like a game like Snatcher. Like that's what
I was expecting.
Yeah, I was like, okay, like it's like Snatcher on the NES, but then I realized that you did little puzzles in each room, and sometimes you'd find like a floppy disk, and it was like, oh, this is another game to play, and
I only found 3 floppy disks, so I'm not sure if there's more, and so
yeah, I'm trying to remember the games I played on there because one of them I couldn't get to work.
So the games that I played, there was one that was a monkey game. And I could get it to load. It's like insert coin, and I couldn't get a coin to insert. So it wasn't just me. So whatever the monkey one is, we were unable to play. Graphics looked great though.
Yeah.
And then there was one that was a Zelda-like game.
That's the one I played. Yeah.
Cool. And then the third one was like an action platformer.
Ooh.
And that game was cool as well. And then I just wrote, did somebody really programmed this from scratch in a month for the competition? Because like it looks like they've been working on this shit for years.
Yeah,
like it's so well done. Like, and if they did, hats off to them because that is so freaking cool. Like it seems unreal. It's so
yeah, especially
like,
that
absolutely the winner of the year. But with voiceover in it and everything, it's like the music's great, the graphics are all well done, and then the fact that there's 3 like mini games within there. Didn't beat any of them, so I don't know how long they are. But like, yeah, Triptych is a trip.
And maybe it was like maybe the developer, this is just me thinking out loud, but maybe they had these like the 3 games that you can play. Maybe those were working concepts that they kind of just threw in there, and they used more the majority towards that menu because man, like that first person view with the anime like. Cut scenes and everything. Oh my god, dude!
Yeah,
unreal.
I don't know if the games are timed or not, but I swear, like I was playing through, and I think it was the action platformer. I had a phone call, I had to do something, and it like kicked me back to the menu, and all the power went out again. So I don't know if that was intentional or I had pressed a button, or something. But like it felt like there's like a timing in it or something. And if that's the case, like that's wild because I just didn't notice. I just went back. I'm like, why the hell am I back in the main menu? Like, what the hell is going on? So I had to go back and relight the power to be able to go back into the console and play my floppy disk game. And it's such a wild game though. But yeah, the note game for this one, I wrote like Zombie Hunter is simple and great. So in depth for my notes, Xander. Zombie Hunter.
It kind of makes me think of Wonder Boy. That's what kind of made me think of.
Yeah.
It's very just side scrolling kind of RPG, very menu based from what I saw. There was like a lot of menus to kind of navigate through, but it looked fun. I mean, I like Wonder Boy, so I would definitely check it out.
On like, oh man. I'm confused now. Because there's another game called Zombie Hunter that actually was an action RPG that was released for the Famicom Disk System. That's not it.
Oh, maybe I was just getting the wrong game.
Yeah,
because because what you're describing sounds like exactly what I was watching. So
so. Yeah, there is a different one called Zombie Hunter, and that's I was like, that sounds cool what you're describing, but that's not what I remember. Yeah, Zombie Hunter, that game was released in 1987. That'd be an action RPG. Developed for the Famicom Disk System.
I'll have to check that one out too. It looked fun.
Yeah, I think it's Zombie Hunter Bob. Is what the game actually is. And what is wild about it is like you're just like it's an action platformer with this character that looks like Vern from from Ernest, and you're like going through and you like shoot zombies, but then you jump into a minecart and the minecart's like constantly moving and you can throw bombs to blow the walls to get through. There's like a whole minecart stage, dude.
Oh my god! Yeah, I gotta play this.
It's so good. It has 8 stages and 7 bosses. I found the itch.io page for it. That's the only reason.
Nice.
So I was like, definitely not an action RPG, Xander.
Yeah.
And the game was made in 6 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, it was made for the Byte-Off in 6 weeks. It definitely has a simple early NES feel to it with like some plain backgrounds and stuff, but it's literally semi-programmed for the Byte-Off. So that's super impressive to me. This one is one that I would say was one of my favorite ones of the year, for sure. And I did play a bunch of like games that I demoed throughout, like as we played through, and I just noted the ones. Zombie Hunter Bob. Yeah, not actual zombie hunter Xander. Like, that's awesome. Well, people can't make this shit up. I love it.
Going into 2024. Okay, this is Byte-Off I.
Byte-Off 4.
Byte-Off 4. I can't read numeral numbers right now.
It's all good. It's all good. We'll put an IV in you so you can read.
The audience choice was Midnight Zone. And you know what? I feel like we had the same kind of feeling with this game.
Yeah, it's interesting. It had Metroidvania vibes. It's a action platform. I don't think there was much action, but I felt like I couldn't figure out the deal. So like there was this thing where at the beginning, because you have like this second bar, it's like press select to do whatever, and like then you have this energy meter, this battery meter that's like draining.
Mm-hmm.
There's like once it goes away, it just turns the level back to normal. There's no like weird incentive. And I went through and went to every crevice of the map, as it's like there's some platforming challenges, and I ran into dead ends on every map, and that was it.
I ran into the dead end. There was no enemies, which was really confusing, and also like when I would hit select and everything would go purple, there was like this room that I found like it was like an elevator, and I'm like, oh shit. But I couldn't figure out how to go inside of it. Like I was shooting at it. I was hitting up on the D-pad. I just couldn't figure it out because I was just like...
That was my thought, is that pressing select with some meter on a certain spot would unlock something.
Yeah.
So that's where the puzzle is, and I'm assuming I just couldn't find it. It's probably an audience choice too, because people that are, judging are in the forums at the time. They probably know some secrets talking to the developer. And so they're not going to hit what we're hitting from a fresh perspective.
Yeah.
With no manual, no ROM. These that we did, we got the ROMs off the Retroverse. Because you can download the ROMs so we can play them like FPGA and in our own way. So we can play them as accurately as possible. But like we're experiencing this shit, people, like it's a brand new demo, which is fun.
Yeah.
But we're gonna hit walls that likely the NESmaker community isn't, because they were at the time at least talking about it.
Yeah.
So wild, dude.
So yeah, I hit a dead end on that one, but this next one was just
it's fucking crazy.
It is a charming. This is the Wombat. And
Wombat.
It was Land Ahoy, and at first I didn't know what the hell this game was. I was like, what's going on? Like,
Did you play the demo? There's like a demo, like how to play. Did you play that?
No, I was going in completely blind.
There's like this demo, and you're like a character, and you're like, yeah, you can move up and down the platform. So I'm like, oh, so you're going to be a character that's like attacking things and moving from level to level. Mm-hmm. And what this game is, you jump in a freaking moving pirate ship and just like collect treasure. And I don't think it ever ends.
No.
At least I was playing it. Every time I lost, it just, my wanted reward, my wanted level as a pirate kept going up.
Yeah.
As I collected treasure, but I kept going forever. And there was a boss battle in the second level.
I didn't get to the boss battle.
Yeah.
It's challenging. It's a challenging game.
Yeah, I got through the whole first level, got to the second level, and then as you progress through, like there's a boss, so you have to figure out the pattern for the boss. And I couldn't get past that part. I kept playing it a bunch of times. It felt like I could eventually, but I didn't at that point. But it was fun as shit. Like I also couldn't figure out how to beat these shield enemies. I could beat the normal enemies just by attacking them. Because what you have to do is you have like, your ship is on wheels across going across the world, and it like destroys everything in its path.
Yeah.
But there'll be like enemies on like the top of houses, and you jump off your ship as it's still moving, and you attack them, take their treasure, take it back to your ship.
Yeah.
And that's the risk versus reward, because if you miss the ship, you die. If you do certain things, you die. And it's like hilarious. Like you get attacked too much, you die. But it's super freaking fun. Like it's freaking land.
I was having a lot of fun playing it. Like I said, the art style and just the music, it was so charming. I'm like, man, this is a lot of fun. A game I could definitely dive into.
A tutorial too, which is really cool to see that program. It's definitely something that seems like it was programmed within the time frame of the Byte-Off.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And then the first Emissary Award, which was in this year, 2024. And keep in mind, like this one, Byte-Off 3 is the first one that was, the awards were done at Midwest Gaming Classic, but I don't know if they didn't have video. The whole video was done like with like cartoon pixel animations.
Oh wow.
Which was wild, but the voiceover, very loud voiceover. But then Byte-Off 4 was like in person. And so the Emissary, they had Dale Coop come up, and he's French, so his English is, broken, but awesome and very, very fun to listen to. His Emissary choice this year was Substation 7. So what was your take on this one, Xander?
I couldn't figure it out.
Me neither. Because at the beginning it says, please read the zine, but we don't have a zine.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, it looks like when I was like playing it, I'm like, oh, this is kind of like maybe a Zelda-like in a spaceship,
Yeah, one of my favorite games of 25 was a Zelda-like with a spaceship. And I'm like,
yeah,
this might be like that. And like, I was just like flying around as a ship, didn't realize that my bullets were limited. So after I ran out, I had no more shots left. Like I had 3 or 4 shots and they were gone. And then like I got to like a little building, I went in, and all of a sudden I'm like a giant sprite walking around to attack. But I still had no bullets, so I couldn't attack. And my sprite was so big. And then like some of the background images like were spikes, but I didn't know that. So I like walk into it and go flying. And so I had to figure out that. And then eventually like I got through the little area, and then I got to the spaceship area again, but I'm at the big sprite and I'm walking around in space.
It's crazy. Yeah, a lot further than I did.
I didn't know what the hell was going on. I was just looking around for shit to do. And
yeah.
I mean, it looked cool as hell. I don't recall what Dale Coop talked about with it, but it's definitely charming.
Yeah. And then I think there's like, when I was playing it, I'm like, there's something I'm missing. There, I was like, there's something I'm not computing.
You didn't read the zines.
Yeah, I didn't read
the zine. No, but like, I'm sure, when Dale was, playing through the game, it was in the forums, and in the forums, the zine's probably there, and probably talking directly with the developer. So if you ran into trouble like we do, you can get a little bit further. But hey, why am I going here? Oh no, you need to do this, this, and this to get through.
Yeah.
Same thing with Time Survivor from Byte-Off 1. Like, I'm sure that with some feedback, we would definitely get more enjoyment out of some of these demos, and they would even go deeper.
And just keep in mind too, we played these games for essentially a week. We played all these games
on and off with life. And
yeah. So I mean, like, these are like reviews. These are like kind of like how we do our new and noteworthy, just a little more in depth.
The best of Byte-Off, so we can get an appreciation for all these programmers. And for this year, the best game is by far the best game. And the thing is, the developer is Artix, and it's Adam. And the thing is he had games from the previous Byte-Offs. There's a game just called Artix, which is eventually called Dungeons and Doom Nights, which has a gold cartridge release. That was in Byte-Off 1 that didn't get recognition, which is crazy because that game is like a Zelda-like masterpiece. And so his first one that got an award is called Pizza Portals. And this game was so freaking fun.
Oh man, it was by far one of my favorite games I played in the collection of the games that we were covering this week, because like you're playing like as this delivery guy in 2 different dimensions, and they kind of have
crazy music and crazy text.
Yeah, and you have to like coexist to get from point A to point B, and there's like sometimes like you'll find yourself just looking at one of the screens and you'll die, and you're like, what the hell was I doing? And I'm like, oh, because in the other dimension,
Spikes down there.
you're like spikes, yeah, or there's like some sort of like bad guy that you gotta avoid or something. But
it was hilarious. Like, so after you like deliver the pizza, it's like the first guy like, do you want to collect the money? And you're like, yeah. So you go and collect the money, and then it's like, oh, thank you. Here's the tip. And then you move through and get back to like where you deliver the pizzas, and then it's like, do you want to? And it's like we're talking to an anime girl or whatever. Like, do you want to go do beach vacation time? But what you don't realize is in the bottom, they're like, do you want to die?
yeah,
So you say, yeah. And so you go through and then you die. And so you say no, and then you can go deliver more pizzas. And like the second one was like characters from Dungeons and Doom Nights. Either second or the third one. And like one of them is, do you want pizza? The other one is, you want to battle to the death. And so you're trying to deliver the pizza while the other guy's attacking you, battling to the death. And it was so freaking hilarious. Like,
yeah.
I got through and beat the whole game. It was so fun. Like, it is a very fun demo. Like, one of them, then you're falling down and you drop back onto the area where the pizza, the pizza store is or whatever, the restaurant. And then you go back in again. And it's like just crazy. And then at the end, they're like, now you have to do it with 4 people. And they're like, what? Yeah. And then they go to the credits.
Yeah, it gets really intricate. Like it's a fun game. That I had a lot of fun playing that one.
Yeah, and it definitely requires you to use both sides of your brain. So I definitely died a bunch, but there was like no penalty for dying.
Yeah,
it was very, very user friendly.
Yeah, this one I didn't get a chance to play, but you put in the notes Spacing Gators.
Yeah, so Space and Gators. That was the one that I had played that like the name itself just sounded cool. It is a super simple game. Made by a winner who won a lot of the best promotional art in a bunch of years. But essentially all you're doing is you have a gator going to attack you. It's almost like you're like a Pac-Man character, and you attack, you get the pieces of like pizza. Again, it's pizza. And like he attacks and you can go to the other side, and you keep doing it and getting a high score, and then when he hits you, you die, and then it goes over, and you just keep doing it. It is so addicting, man. It was like, it reminded me of like Angry Birds and stuff. I was just kept playing it over and over again to collect the pizza. And I'm not sure if I don't think pizza was the Byte-Off 4 theme. I think a couple people just maybe either talked about it or accidentally created pizza games together.
It's a good thing I didn't play this one, because that one would have consumed me. Like, that sounds so great.
It was a really fun one. And yeah, so the developer, like every time he does stuff, he like has like a evil dictator puppet that does the talking and stuff. And so like on Byte-Offs, like he'll go and talk shit about the developers as the evil puppet guy, the little green puppet guy. Like, I'm like doing crazy shit.
Yeah, I did see they had like he made a lot of like different commercials. I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah. And the promotional stuff that he's done is funny as shit. It's really creative and part of the damn NESmaker community. Like, these guys are super cool. But yeah, that was, I assume that was his only game for the Byte, but maybe he had multiple. But it was really dope.
Now, going into 2025.
So last year's Byte-Off, and it was like, this one was wild too, because the Byte-Off was like this crazy Hollywood experiment Joe Granado was going through. I don't know if he was like on something, but they did a reveal. They had like a mystery, who ruined the Byte-Off, all this crazy shit. Like, it was like going on for like months. And then they went to, the actual Byte-Off Awards at Midwest Gaming Classic, and I was unable to attend that year. So I was in training for the Army. So I hadn't actually like played these games. I saw the Byte-Off live or whatever, but I never played these games. And the audience choice in the Wombat was the same game, Xander.
A very good game. I really enjoyed this one. Hold the Light.
Oh my gosh.
First off, I'm gonna Hold the Light, like Toto.
Well, and it's like, but it's like a very emotional story. Like, he's like,
yeah,
his mom's in the hospital.
Yeah, and then she's, it's like her last days. I think she's got some memory issues too and stuff like that. So you're almost like trying to keep the flame of her alive, which is really crazy.
Fucking crazy. In the story mode, like, Like I ended up playing through the whole thing because it was stressed the shit out of me, but I kept playing because I like barely survived. Because it's like you're going around, there's a campfire in the middle, and all the evil shadow enemies are attacking the light, and as they attack it, the whole area shrinks.
Yeah.
And the light goes, and the light gets darker. But you have to like do it for like the duration of the song. So as you hear it, and it gets more and more high pitched and intense, and you get like the fire will shoot out like little items, and so you can get like a little red item that will like attract the enemies, or you get this thing that spins around, or blue lights that go across to temporarily allow you some reprieve. Some levels you have to like grab a bubble and shoot the enemies. The other ones like you just got to deflect them with your body, and they're coming from all like spots. And there's a boss fight at the end too. Like a big old boss that you attack, and it splits into more and splits into more and splits into more. Like, and then eventually, you get to the reconciling with your mother in her last breaths. Wild.
Yeah, it was fun.
And I covered it in 2 sections too, because there's also an arcade mode. You just defend from the shadow enemies, the power-ups assist you, and you get a high score, which, gives it a different feeling, because like the story mode's like intense. The arcade mode's still intense, but it doesn't bring the emotions. But then it's like, all right, it gives as many points as possible. I did the arcade mode first, so I was like playing through and doing that. So then when I got to the story mode, I'm like, oh, okay, I already knew the mentality, so I was able to actually like beat the game, which was really cool.
Yeah, and then the next game was Twig 2.
Which is the Emissary, the second ever Emissary, selected by Dale Goop. And what's this, single screen arcade game? You're a squirrel collecting, not carrots, I think it was flowers. Was it, or was it carrots? I wrote carrots, but I think it was flowers. Because what I liked is you go through the single screen platformer, there's like little enemies, including some bunnies that jump up. But if you collect the special item, you get double the points. And then another item becomes special. And I thought it was like a flower's white, and then they're all yellow, and there's one white flower, or vice versa.
Yeah.
And you collect that one, and they continually change, and then it gives you a tally in the HUD of how many you collected. If you collect them all like that, you get a bonus at the end, and then you go through the next level. And I think after about 4 or 5 levels, it like then restarts. And so you just chase the high score the whole time until you lose all your lives.
Yeah. And the game is also on Steam.
Is it on Steam?
It's on Steam. So, I mean, that's really cool.
It's a super simple arcadey platformer. I enjoyed it. It was fun. Would love to see a full-fledged game. Maybe they finished it up on Steam and with like multiple, like 100 levels or something. It'd be really cool. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. I wanted more. And, the jumping was very precise. So that if you missed it, you would like jump into the spikes. So it was satisfying when you'd make all the jumps. Especially like because you can wrap around the level and you like jump and hit a like ledge platform, which is really cool.
Yeah, and this game,
the final game,
the
last best game of Byte-Off, also programmed by Artix, who did Pizza Portals the year prior, by the way. Best game. He won 2 years in a row. But this was like a combination of multiple NESmaker community developers. It wasn't just Artix. Artix did all like the design, but then you had people doing the music. You had Dale Coop involved. You had people doing art, everything. Like this game was really unique and fun.
Yeah, Backwards Quest. I ended up like beating the whole game without even realizing it, because I was just so enthralled on like the concept of it, because the game, you're playing it backwards down through.
Already beating the end boss.
Yeah, you're like at the king or whatever. Yeah, and you're like this badass knight, and you're fighting them, and all of a sudden this like woman's like reverse time, and you actually walk backwards. And like you'll walk by like corpses, and they'll come to life, and like if they're shooting bow and arrows,
you gotta fight them, and then he gotta fight them, and then you go, oh well, here, and then you lose as you like beat the enemy. You choose a power up to lose. So you lose your power or your health, and I chose health every time. But then like you get to a spot, and it's like you lose your armor, and it's like, here's the evil armor. And now you're a character with the giant sword. And then you lose you don't lose the giant sword, you actually get small. But when you get small, you can't jump or attack because the sword's too damn heavy.
Yep.
And so then you're like going through, and then you like lose the sword, and now all of a sudden you can punch or whatever they attack with. But then you get through, and then you find a character, and you were actually the princess, and you swapped bodies to go through. Like, and it's like so wild. And then you go all the way back, and you're back at the final boss, who is the king, and you're the princess, and everything comes full circle. So you go around the whole world.
Oh man, it was so much fun. So much fun. I even like the fact that, you know how like in games how you have things falling from the ceiling, like it would come from the ground because it was all the reverse. I was like, that tripped me out. I'm like, whoa, what the hell's going on? So yeah, that was cool. It was like playing Castlevania backwards. It's weird.
I'm hoping because last year in 25, Artix Adam had pizza portals as a physical at Midwest Gaming Classic in 2025. So the winner of 24, he had the physical copies, and he had like a variant with his son on it, pizza portals. So I'm hoping that there's a physical Backward Quest at Midwest Gaming Classic this year. I will be a purchaser of Backward Quest physical copy because that game was freaking awesome. That was amazing. And Artix does good shit. The final one that I talked about is Athos, but it was called Echoes of Elysium Descent back then in the Byte-Off, and it won the best music. Of course, we covered it. You've known the programmer forever. I'm working out some wooden pixel art for the LE. I gotta do about I think it's like 100 of them or something to support. Super freaking cool. And so I noticed there's some differences in this demo than the actual game.
Yes, I think that was one of the coolest things about it because, it's really progressed. Like Echoes of Elysium Descent and Ethos, like both of those games, they're the same, but they're almost like two different games.
It's like you still have the worlds, but there's no animation flying in the ship.
Oh yeah,
you kind of just choose them, and there's more enemies actually.
Oh yeah,
screens, lots more enemies, which I enjoyed the more enemies. So I do think that maybe there is a medium or a hard mode or something that maybe adds those enemies in the final version. I know that he's working on that. But like the game's still freaking cool. I so much fun. It still played cool as shit during the demo.
I really enjoyed seeing the progression of the cutscenes too. Like seeing how the arts like kind of progressed since that initial Byte-Off last year. So that's freaking cool.
And I don't think he's able to make it to Midwest, unfortunately. I think he's not able to make it. But either way, though, like it just shows me and like. All 5 of the Byte-Offs, you notice there's like a progression in quality and like how these developers are utilizing the NESmaker program to do new and cool things. You start with like, simple Zelda like some platformers, and then you get stuff like Backward Quest, which is like full on narrative and art. Like I don't know how anybody else could compete with it. And it's still short enough to where I feel like they still did it during the theme of
it's not a long game.
Byte-Off.
Yeah.
And the thing was, I thought it was like Find the Reason was the theme or something. And so that's why like Hold the Light was so emotional with that final Byte-Off. It'll be interesting to see because, at the time of this recording, they haven't announced the theme for Byte-Off 6. But I feel like we'll play along as they release demos and things. Like we'll use it in the Homebrew section of a normal episode of Incredible.
It'd be great.
Just to support and find out. So when they announce the winners at the Byte-Off award show that we're going to be doing the red carpet for, we already had played the games. We've played all the original Byte-Off stuff. And I mean, I can hint at this. We're going to have something cool with us. Oh yeah. I ain't even expecting. That is a huge amazing thing that we want to do for the community. So we're gonna have something really fucking cool for the Byte-Off 6 red carpet in the award show.
Yeah. And I think this would be a great episode too for someone like like I mentioned in the beginning of the episode, just getting into the homebrew scene. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of good knowledge and games to be checking out at the end of this episode when it comes to this NES aftermarket scene. It's crazy, man. It is so crazy.
So many games from the first few Byte-Offs, even ones that hadn't won awards, were so good and then did get finished up into full physical releases. I mean, we mentioned, Oratorio, we mentioned Turtle Rescue, Doodle World, but also games like Nessie the NES robot that was part of the original first Byte-Offs has a full physical release. And that one, didn't get any recognition because it didn't get the award, but still is a great game. And even the guy Joe Sherman, who did Turtle Rescue, made other games in future Byte-Off that didn't quote unquote get an award, but it's the dude that Howard Phillips chose his game.
Yeah, it's still worth checking out. Yeah.
Absolutely. So that could be so if you want us to, listeners and viewers, if you want us to like cover more of the Byte-Off stuff, go down the rabbit hole, or cover, these are the winners, let's go another level down. We can do that. I'll have to do more research on it. That's fine. Because once you start seeing these awesome developers, you can see the passion in there. And that's why I love the NES aftermarket community, because we get brand new games by, amazing independent developers that are publishing within the constraints of these old systems.
Yeah.
It's amazing to see. And, they're able to do a little bit more than back in the day because of the special chips and stuff within the NES, which means we get to see like even a little bit more polish into the games. And, I want to finish up Happy Scrappy Hero Pup. So who's to say that, I don't get a hair up my ass and try to get something out? It'd be all, and Xander could use Family Tracker and of course music for it.
Oh yeah.
I think I'll be a hard ass and try to do it all, like all the programming and graphics and design shit myself for sure.
Yeah, I can't draw.
I'll get Boop Boop down here. That'd be some music. Old Boop Boop.
There's no telling what's going on, but I think that's a good way to segue into Jeff, your Patreon. It's a good way to know what you're doing. What are you doing right now?
So right now it's just pure madness. I just got out all of the exclusive slipcases for all the executive producers. And of course we readjusted all the tiers to where, there's always the free tier to follow along with all of our madness. And then there's the digital contributor piece. And then we have the physical, where you get physical goodies every quarter, as well as the awesome limited slipcase that I'm only making for Patreons. So like last year was the Metroidvania Chronicles with Phil Summers art, all laser etched, and it looks freaking phenomenal. And so I got all those out. I had to make, so we did a trivia game last time, and I had like leftover things for art that I made. And I gave them the shell and said, guess the game. And those that guessed the game, I sent them a pixel art, a wooden style and unpainted of their games as the win. And those that didn't guess right, I got them something cool. So they still got something cool as well, along with the limited wooden coins I did with the Sega CD book too. And so give them lots of cool treats. I have 10 slots total. I want to say we have 8 executive producers right now. So there's still a couple slots left for those that are interested as we continue to do crazy shit, Xander.
Yes, and be sure to join us on Discord as well. It's free to join. And our Facebook page, it's going to be under Indie Gaming Gems. You can join our page.
Changed.
I know.
Incredible. Forgot this week.
But before we get into our executive producers, I do want to mention I am putting out a song in February. Yeah, I've sent you the track before we recorded the episode. But it's another black metal song. It's another black metal song called Shadows of the Nine. It's going to be about the ring raves and all that stuff. So what was really interesting about this recording, because what I try to do every time I do like different music projects, is I'm always trying to think of new ideas with producing, rather it's, filming a music video, because I'm going to be doing a music video for this as well. But also just recording. And what I really wanted this song to sound like is like a 90s era cassette black metal recording, so what I did is I recorded it, with Reaper, the digital audio workstation I used. And, I did, like, I would do a normal song, but then I recorded it onto a CD, and then I put it in a tape deck and recorded it on cassette. So the cassette was recording the CD, and then I went back and transferred that into the DAW. And so it's got that cassette quality sound, but also I meshed in a little bit of the digital as well. So it sounds really good. I really like the way it came out. I probably did it completely backwards, but it was a lot of fun. So,
well, you played backward quest then. Yeah, had to go backward.
That's what it was.
And you were back on your shirt. We both wore NES controller shirts. I knew it. Didn't plan that shit, people. I'm also wearing a Casa Bonita hat.
Oh, yeah.
South Park reference. Took my daughter there for her birthday last week, too. We went to Casa Bonita, and I had a great time. It was Mexican Disneyland. It was awesome. I did not expect. They have cliff divers in the restaurant.
Oh, wow.
To water. There's a Black Bart's Cave where you go through and find treasure. And, yeah, it's insane. The place is so crazy. And the owners of it's owned by the creators of South Park now.
Yeah.
Like millions and millions of dollars they put in to make sure this thing is cool. The food's standard Mexican food, but it was an experience. And I got myself a hat.
Yeah, it's like when you go to like the medieval, dinners that they have like Myrtle Beach or
stuff like that. Hearing that shit.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
You're walking in and there's a mariachi band playing you, and like it was so cool. But yeah, it's a wild thing. Outside of that, do have an upcoming Kickstarter for a developer from Atari we talked about last episode. So it is about his time during the Jaguar era of working at Atari, and then struggles with life and everything else and coming to terms with things. It's a really inspirational story. The Kickstarter's already rip-roared, ready to go. I need to probably give Xander the link so we can put it in the show notes.
Yeah.
Because literally you can follow it early, and then we'll launch it live. It's going to go in February, so that way we can get Ted and his son Jaron some exposure. I just didn't want to do it super early in the year. I wanted to wait a month.
Yeah.
It's super cool. Right now I'm just waiting on some voiceover stuff so I can make a crazy ass video trailer. I want to tell. Ted said he's going to record a bunch of stories for me, and
it's going to be really cool.
Maybe I'll have you help me with it too, because you're pretty much a master at that. But yeah,
that was cool though. Hell yeah,
Tamiko.
Well, we have to give a big shout and a huge thank you to our executive producers on Jeff's Patreon. And again, that Patreon's at Hagen's Alley Books. And first one's going to go to Akaroff.
And then we have David Isherwood.
And the disgruntled gamer from Thunderdome Gaming Society.
And Jesse Glenn. I would like to see if I like
Jacob Henrichsen.
Yeah, you say it wrong every time. He's a Richard instead of a Rich. And Brian Pittman.
And Kai Kenderson.
And finally, Alex, who had his name written in kanji, but goes as Alex. And it's patreon.com/Hagen's Alley, not Hagen's Notebooks. You're going to give the other Hagen's Alley. No, it's the thing is, though, is it's the best way to keep track of all the crazy shit, because I did start doing on my blog like Art 101 and going through like my process on why I chose to do certain things with art pieces that I'm doing, showing off the pictures. I might show off before and after. This last week I was working on for one of the Sega CD backers, the mini canvas of Sonic CD, and I finished like half of it. And the way I started to do the bottom piece, doing the background art, I chose different colors that were a little darker or lighter to make the characters pop more. And so going over that aesthetic, being the hipster artist that I'm apparently becoming, it has just been a fun process and something that I can put on the blog to give people one extra cool thing to check out.
Indeed, indeed. And we want to thank you guys for checking out another episode of the Indie Credible Podcast. As always, thanks for watching, happy gaming, and support indie.